Bow, bow. Hi, Pepper. And wait till the song's over. Mm. Okay. So, let me tell you all this. So, as everyone knows, I have dogs that I'm watching. I also have my grandmother's cat here now. Now, the cat's name is Patches. Or Precious, whoever you want to ask. It's always different, but it's always a P. Now, Patches decided she was going to go into the playroom. And let me tell y'all this. Peaches also went into it because she likes to look out the big window. When I tell you, when my Nana told me that her cat was there, I was like, Peaches is walking around this house. I don't want to go and take a nap in case something bad happens. And I go and I look and I just hear my Nana's cat making a noise like warning. And I look and Peaches is like they're staring at her. I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. What's gonna happen here? What am I gonna have to grab a cat? Am I? And it was just that, just a warning. That Peaches went and she climbed onto a chair and just stared at her, and then when Peaches moved onto the chair, the cat didn't like it. She was like, "That's a little too close for me." So she gave a higher pitch of a warning. So Peaches just jumped down and went into the rocking chair that we have in the room. Like, fine, if you don't let me, look out the window, I'll just lay right here. I did manage to get Peaches to come upstairs with me to take a nap. So I did do that. I took a nice nap with my cat. It was awesome. So I, of course, we have all these memories, and we also have these. It's kind of the same as last round, except these DLCs are for Baxter instead of Derek. I'm going to do the sightseeing one first because this I choose this. I get to choose at least one of them, which we do. And ow, my arm. Whoops. You're perched on the couch in your living room, doing nothing particular. It was a quintessential, quintessential, quintessential summer afternoon. Did I say that right at all? Quintessential. Okay. I'm just gonna stop myself. I'll just put my head down and we'll just do this. The weather was warm and the mood was lazy. So far, it had shaped up to be a pleasant day, if somewhat uneventful. No plans and no obligations beyond a few usual chores. Liz had already filtered off, enjoying herself. She left in the morning, carrying a mysteriously heavy bag. He hadn't bothered asking her what she was doing or why it needed a sack that clattered when it moved. She probably wouldn't be home till late. Your moms both had day off, and like you, had been using their freedom to do nothing of importance. Gotta love that. You know what? Hold on. I want to. I kind of. So here's the thing. I want to play Skyrim, but I also can't play it on my Xbox and stream it without you guys not being able to hear me. I know that's weird. I'm bringing it for a good reason. Um, so I was thinking of doing I don't know how many subs it would take, but like for reach a total amount of subs, I would play no mod Skyrim run on my PC because I do have it for PC. Would that be interesting to anyone? Yes, okay. Mm. How many subs should I make it then? I, of course, will need to, make a little thing for it, but I don't want to be too much. that seems a little too easy. 20? I think, yeah, 20 sounds good. Corpse is making it. Could always go right in the middle between both and go 25. I'll do that. I'll do 25. Let me just... Okay. We'll do that. Go right between 20 and 50 at 25. That's a little closer to 20, but half of 50 is 25, so... The group of you finished cleaning up from your shared lunch, and Mom struck up a conversation. So, well, what's next? Your mind was blank. You let the question hang, assuming Mom would be the one to reply. Then sat at your phone out of habit. Right when the screen lit up, presenting you with a potential idea, text notification had come in. Baxter's name displayed itself. He sent more messages after the first. You unlocked your phone to see it all. Hello and good afternoon. I am intending to go sightseeing and would love it if you could join me. You're quite welcome to invite anyone else along as well. Your phone buzzed one more time with the additional note. Sincerely, your friend, Baxter. You stared at the screen. His text style read more like a formal letter written with a full pen than a text.
Oh.
Did your friends text you? Ma smiled at you with a raised eyebrow. Gluing your face to a phone for so long must have been a big tip-off. Baxter is inviting me to go sightseeing. Wow, perfect timing. Bless you, Peaches. the puppy? Yes, that's nice. Baxword seems like a lovely young man.
Not bad.
He's a step up or two from the Donalds, that's for sure. Neither Ma or Ma had spent a lot of time around Baxter as far as you were aware. They met early in the summer, something unavoidable on the street, and had few encounters since. Sorry, I had to turn around and see what the heck the dogs are doing. Wonder where he's from. Ma didn't look to you for an answer or her wife. She couldn't add to the topic, and seemed no one else in the room knew either. It was a wonderment for the universe aloud. Mom still pressed her lips together and thought. No clue. But what I'm curious about is, what is he studying in college? He's on a break from school, isn't he?
Well,
Yes, he did mention he was on an off semester, but not more than that. Once the curiosity train left the station, there was no stopping it. The two traded questions back and forth, whispering with growing steam. There was someone on their street who was a stranger, a situation that hadn't occurred in a decade. What do you think his family's like? He's here all by himself. Again, none of you could align the others. You had seriously spent more time with Baxter than your parents. You realized he hadn't been forthcoming with basic details. Food's here. You found his mystery intriguing. It kind of felt weird to know so little. You wanted to change that. You didn't think that was a big deal. You wanted to change that. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm back with food. Okay. There's only one thing to do about Baxter's mystery. Confront it directly. If he wouldn't lay it out on his own, you'd have to draw answers from him. You were focused on your phone on the formal message that had yet to get a reply. I had to sneeze. Good. Answer the question casually. Answer Cauda's hilarious message. Answer him in a similar fashion. Let's do it in a similar fashion. Feeling inspired by a stiff texting tone, you couldn't resist having a little fun. Good tidings, Sir Baxter. Of course, I would be delighted to join you this fine day. I have finished my lunch and so I'll venture forth to your dwellings. It sent where the message wasn't exactly a high society Victorian letter. It ended up more medieval fantasy scroll. I probably get the joke. It didn't take long at all for Baxter to continue the conversation. Brave night, Beanie. That is heartening. I shall see you post haste. My highest regards. Yeah, you got it. She smiled and turned to your moms. Then moved on to wondering about if Baxter had a part-time job. Probably not. Both of them were concluding. See you later. I'm going to go see Baxter now. Have fun, kiddo. Yes, do that. Ma's grin was as sweet as honey being used in a trap. You can see the ulterior motive from a mile away.
Please?
And if you happen to find out anything about our new neighbor, maybe think of telling your poor moms when you get back.
Lonnie.
Lonnie. So, what I have here, you guys can't see it, but it's good pizza. It is chicken sausage with a garlic sauce. It's not bad. I also have a Italian sausage slice as well. Courtesy of Kenzie, because Kenzie doesn't like change. I also have some chicken alfredo pasta. Mm. Yeah, pickles for Kenzie. I'll be sure to let her know. Both pizzas are very good. Despite everything, Mom appeared amused at her wife's blatant attempt at info digging. I'd be interested to hear it too, if Baxter doesn't mind his mystification being cleared up. You two are so nosy, you laughed. You're way too nosy, you scolded. Why don't you just invite him over and interrogate him yourselves? Why do you think Baxter will tell me anything? That a long suffering groan over their behavior. You smiled at your hilarious parents. Both Ma and Mom beamed back at you. It was one lucky break that your moms were so fun and lively, despite the occasional trouble their antics could bring. You wouldn't want them any other way. One moment. But it is a shame he hasn't actually moved into the neighborhood. I can invite him over and get to know him better myself. Sadly, that's not the case.
That's a
This
shame.
young man trying to enjoy his vacation. He should be out and about, not spending his limited time entertaining us old moms in our kitchen. I slumped her shoulders while expressing her limitations in this snooping matter. Though she immediately perked back up. It's different if he's making a friend his own age, if you don't want to ask, or it doesn't come up, of course, that's fine. I'm only saying that if you do, or it does, that I'd be curious to hear about it. Alright, I'll see how it goes. I accept the mission, won't let you down. Hey, Baxter has interesting taste. Maybe he's into moms. I'll never squeal. I'll take those secrets to my grave. He nodded understandingly. He shook non-committedly. Alright, I'll see how it goes. That's all we're asking. Thank you, sweetie. I won't keep you any longer. Go have a wonderful day.
See you later.
Take care. Bye. Snoopy moms. Gather up your phone, wallet, and water bottle. And a few other odds and ends you imagine might come in handy during an unspecified outing. You left the condo your firmly normal but boring day rocketing off into unknown direction. Facts tend to have that kind of effect on things. Once inside, you cross the street diagonally to reach Baxter's place. You found the doorbell and pressed it down. The doorbell was so much more reasonably placed. A second later, the man you wanted to see opened the door with a grin. From his quick response, you knew he had to have been standing by. You announced he'd be here, and he was ready for it.
Hello.
Hello, Vinny. Thank you for coming.
Beanie, hi. Nice seeing you. Self-voicing
Hello.
disabled.
Thank you for coming. Hi, nice seeing you. At Baxter's obvious closer to your attention, you smiled in return. Stepped out of his car and closed the door behind him to stand by you. Appreciate you agreeing so last minute. However, if you do have prior arrangements, this will be done another day. Sightseeing is my usual itinerary after all. I didn't have any plans. Really, there's nothing to do. In that case, I'm glad today was the afternoon I asked. I stopped in at least one scenic spot. I tried a new restaurant or browsed an unfamiliar shop nearly every day since I've been here so far. I've always had to go on my own, so this will be a special trip. Self-voicing. Really, I'm impressed with how proactive you've been. Thank you. I've only had a few short visits to California in my life. Even then, I was underage and supervised by parents or guardians. Mr. Nybrow and his voice took on a delayed tone. Saw each other on one of those rare occasions where I was in state. Dance instructors were controlling the schedule at that time.
Is that fine?
This was my first chance to truly experience what the area has for myself. It's also not going to last forever, so I'd rather not waste any opportunities. His bold proclamation reminded you of how fleeting his presence really was in everyone's life. Exactly, and he suddenly appeared. It wouldn't be too much longer until he vanished back to wherever he'd come from. He was impossible to pin down. I have to warn you, my moms might grill you on your life one of these days. So completely unrelated, but do personal questions bother you? Why you're so elusive? I'm not wasting any my chance to spend the day with you. Are you trying to be mysterious? You didn't comment. I'm not wasting my chance to spend the day with you.
That's wonderful.
Ah, fine. I was thinking the same thing. Locked his door smoothly and tucked the key into his pocket. You're doing me quite the favor by accompanying me. Shoulders loosened, and he directed a soft glance towards you. Keep in mind, this feels like a good chance for the two of us to get to know each other better. I'm sorry, this pasta's really good.
My pleasure.
Please query me at your leisure. If there's anything you'd ever want to ask, I'm an open book in your hands. It could have stopped there, and you would have expected it to end on a formal bow. The exceedingly official sounding offer was flipped into something coy and full of possibility. There are many things I'd like to know about you. Thank you. I want to know you better as well. You can ask me whatever you want to. Simply nodded. Nervously looked away. Your mom would have been thrilled to hear that. I want to know you better as well. He was a figure of curiosity for you, a friendly stranger who was quickly becoming closer and closer.
Excellent.
Excellent. Then we're in agreement. Instead of asking him personal information, you need to use your question asking authority for something else first. Where were you thinking of going sightseeing? Max placed a hand on his chin, considering. Ideally, the first shop would be your choice, since you're so considerately joining me today. May as well take advantage of your local expertise. After that, I can take you to a place that possibly even you haven't been to yet. I have a rental car, so it is no worry if you want to go somewhere that's too far to walk to. My choice will certainly require driving. I'm positive you've stepped on every inch of this
What do
town.
you think?
Does that sound agreeable? Then you pick the first place and following up with somewhere you haven't been to before, despite living here for almost your whole life. What did he think you'd miss? Maybe it was the overconfidence of a tourist, or maybe it was something trickier. But he caught you off guard again. Baxter's promised to tell you wherever you wanted to know. Tell you. You're prepared for him to still be so hard to read. You should have known he wouldn't suddenly get actual straightforward, no matter how direct he claimed he would act. Works for me. Give me one moment. Okay. With what you understand about Baxter's, part of the day would be fun for both of you, and he shouldn't have to plan everything. He was a friend, not your tour guide. Baxter flashed his shining white teeth. Do you have anywhere in mind then? Part of the request, if there is one place someone like Baxter should go see, what would it be? Inspiration struck. There is no place more iconic around. How about Shopping Street? The Shopping Street? I don't know what you mean. Given it was minutes away on foot, you already might have offered own news. But it didn't come up on the map as anything other than a few of the permanent shops. You had to be there to know. Several local shops and stalls by the beach. It's right near our neighborhood. Really? His hanging attention encouraged you to continue. It's meant to be fun for visitors. Not all of the typical grocery stores or clothing shops or things like that. Everyone should go there at least once while they're here. Max made a gesture waving you on to lead out.
Perfect.
That sounds absolutely perfect. Please show me the way. You obliged, and the two of you strolled down the inclined street. Neither of you were particularly rushing. It still looked less than 15 minutes to walk down to the spot. Oh. You skipped over the cement curb onto a worn gray bricked road and were there. Tantalizing smells and a mix of attention-grabbing music drifted from the open doors and outdoor stalls. The different songs blended into one new tune, a celebration for your senses. As normal for tourist season, the plaza bustled with a crowd of excited visitors. Aesthetically, Baxter stood out from a vast majority of the colorful tourists, whose enthusiasm matched their faces of awe.
I love it.
This is wonderful. Confident yet suggestive the correct place, he let out a happy sigh. Continued wondering, but now you let Baxter direct the way. You merely followed along as he explored. He filtered to and from stalls like a monochrome butterfly in a flower garden. Jerry had been more correct than she should have known when she made that comparison at the beginning of the summer. They had memories attached to each corner of the street. Watching his first experience there was almost like seeing him fresh as yourself. He could easily recall the feelings he had coming as a child, being swept up in the energy and adventure of it all. You scrutinized the available stalls out today and realized Baxter would have a huge, gaping hole in the experience. There was no magician performing tricks anywhere. That bit of shopping street wonder would go unknown to Baxter, even though he came all the way there. By chance, Baxter led you into the area where shows happened in the past. Cards and coins had appeared out of nowhere, and free balloons were inseparable from this place to you. Watching Baxter out of the corner of your eye, it struck you that you had never gotten close to a tourist before. Everyone you knew, well, also was familiar with Sunset Bird, or at least something in the area. But he was another one of the temporary passerbys. Hey, sometimes people do performances here. If only we could have come a different day. Good God, and dolphin balloons. It was too bad that he might actually never had a chance to see. Sometimes people do performances here. Oh? Yeah, the most famous to me anyway was a magician called the Amazing Alexander. The Amazing Alexander, that sounds amazing. The sheer amount of thrill and Baxter made you happy. He had taste. So his electric interest was honestly more than what you expected from hearing about a random street magician. But it was nice, so he continued. Explain how, when you were younger, you and a friend had thought about doing your own show too. Derek and you had been enthusiastic, but never could figure out what to actually perform. It never ended up happening. Baxter listened with amusement as he expanded the story. You were surprised that you could recall it as well as you did all these years later. It returned to your mind in waves. Hold on. Here, I'm gonna save more food. And it was nice that Baxter was enjoying himself without seeing the show himself. Coming here was more than just showing a small part of the world he lived in. It had shown him parts of yourself. Now felt appropriate to use your privilege of asking him a question about himself. Where are you from? I was wondering what your family like. What are you studying in college? Was that the black and white thing? You're single, right? You stayed quiet for a bit. Okay. What do we ask? Boop. Who wants to pick the first thing we ask him? Or does no one care? Oh, okay. course doesn't care, voices, was with the black and white thing. My dress sense is the most pressing thing you want to know about. I appreciate someone with a good eye. Looked down his outfit and shrugged. I don't think of it as being much of a thing. Black and white happen to be my favorite colors. There we go. It's the only colors you ever wear. You even dyed your hair to match. That's more than a color simply being your favorite. The Conjuring movie is out? Oh. Baxter quietly absorbed your words with a wider smile. Clearly more amused and embarrassed. For all that he just downplayed it, he totally owned the strange quirk of his character.
Alright.
Alright, one could say I'm rather dedicated to the aesthetic as a whole. I came to it gradually, though I had some level of affection for black and white ever since I was a small child. And when you knew me back then, could have told you as much. I was very forthright and outspoken about my preferences as children can often be. But it wasn't until a few years ago, that I made the conscious decision to align my fashion choice with that underlying attachment. It was around then that I came to understand how clothing could be an expression of your personality, a way of showing yourself to the world. I want to make a statement, you could say, so I started experimenting with more grayscale looks and began selectively tailoring my wardrobe around the limited palette. To start with, like most people, I associated black and white with more informal tastes and styles. Tuxedos, dinner suits, tailcoats, and the like. As I looked further beyond my own social group, found a diverse range of alternative subcultures, which drew upon the monochrome theme. There's lots of appeals for me there as well. I ended up adapting many of them into my own personal sense of taste.
So?
The rest, as they say, is history. That actually made a lot of sense, now that it was all laid out in front of you. It was like that one small choice early on had snowballed, gathering momentum as time went on, and now formed a core part of who he was. But if that were the case, then the question remained. So what made you like black and white in the first place, as a kid, I mean? Oh, that. He leaned in closer and playfully threaded his fingers together under his chin. Can you guess? What? He wasn't liking to beat around the bush. The fact that he was choosing to toy with you a little about this was not what you'd prepare for. Those are standard form of colors. You must really love zebras. Are you maybe a fan of black and white movies? You're too much of a grown-up for colorful things. No idea. Can I have a hint? I'm sorry if y'all can hear Sophie. Those are the standard formal colors. An admirable attempt. I did include that in my story. That's not the reason I latched onto them originally.
See?
I'll try and make it easier for you. The crux of the matter is this. Why do I, Baxter Ward, like the colors black and white so much? His voice took on a strange quality, placing a lot of emphasis on certain words. He was obviously trying to guide you through the process here, but you couldn't quite work it out. I'm sorry, still no clue. Beats me. Tell me. Wait a minute, black and white. Wait a minute, black and white. Baxter Ward, black and white. No way. No way. It's because of your initials? He grinned from ear to ear. The punchline finally revealed, a face of sheer delight. You got it. Brilliant, is it? Isn't it? And I have to give you credit. You managed to see the picture without every piece of the puzzle. Yeah, that's my full name is Baxter Alexander Ward. 3 out of 3. He raised his chin in his hands and beamed at you. The very picture of smugness. You'd hardly seen him this content in all the time you'd known him. That's such a perfect coincidence. I can't believe that's the reason. But why would that cause such a lifelong obsession? That's adorable. I have no words. That's adorable. Baxter just giggled boyishly at your response and swept his fingers idly through his bangs. But as a child, I came to believe that black and white had to be a part of my identity, since I realized how well it coincided with my own name. It felt almost like magic in a way. Names carry power and importance. Gets all those kinds of coincidences. It's part of the mystery of youth. Magic, huh? You're reminded of something that happened earlier. Is that why you reacted when I mentioned the amazing Alexander? Because it's your middle name?
You're good.
Well spotted. That's correct again. You could say I wish to be an amazing Alexander in my own right. I've always been fond of my full name. Very nice name. I like it too. It's sushi too to you. Thank you for sharing it with me. The smell is contagious. Thank you for sharing it with me. You're very welcome. At any rate, I'm sure you can understand at least why I'm so attached to it and to my favorite colors. Certainly did. Who knew that such a simple question could lead to such a straight and unexpected answer? In the past few minutes, you end up learning much more than you bargained for about the hidden depths of Baxter Alexander Ward. You okay, Peaches? Peaches looks like she might go insane from Sophie Barker. Dogs down here. All 3 dogs. Yes. I think Mama Beans has gotten sick and tired of Sophie Barker too. Past few minutes, you end up learning much more than you bargained for about the hidden depths of Alexander Ward. Baxter Alexander Ward. I skipped over his first name. I'm sorry. Then you were struck by the most obvious idea in the world. You're on a shopping street, window shopping with a tourist. Baxter needed to get a souvenir for his days in Sunset Bar. No, you would buy him a souvenir. Baxter, you should pick something out. That's the best place to get a souvenir. This is the best place. No, you're getting him a souvenir. You pursued the display with purpose, rather than passively observing them. What would be fitting memento of your town? What would Baxter Ward actually like? Sorted these criteria carefully and decided to get him a postcard, shot glass, mug, t-shirt, shell picture frame, a mini carved driftwood statue, locally made necklace. You good, Peaches? You good, puppy? You good? Luckily made necklace, why not? The jewelry was a bright silver chain with black stones strung across it, and a lobster claw clasp that opened smoothly. It would work with his usual style, you determined. He could wear a little piece of this town as part of his day-to-day life. It was satisfying finding something that worked so well. You went to purchase it discreetly. What the fuck? He turned to Baxter's side. His excitable expression curved into something more typical for him. What did you find? It's a gift for you. Covered in a plastic pouch containing the recently bought necklace. He graciously accepted it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beanie. You're too kind. Before he opened it to examine what it was, he paused. I'm going to wait. Huh? I don't want to experience everything good right now. Then there'll be nothing left. I can have this straight later. Though, don't worry. I'll be sure to open this while you're watching. Perhaps at the end of this outing. Alright, it's your gift. Open it whenever you'd like. Thank you once again. You walked away from the shop side by side, with a successful purchase swinging between you. When Baxter was gone, he'd only had to look at the necklace to recall his days there. And you. You raised one back to the man beside you who still hardly knew. The one you had so little time to know. Where are you from? I was wondering, what's your family like? What are you studying in college? You're single, right? You stayed quiet for a bit. Next question. Who wants to pick it? 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's how we're going to decide it. 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's single, right? His lean back demeanor sharpened around the edges. His eyes were smiling at you, even if his mouth wasn't. He enjoyed the implications of this question a great deal. If you were asking if he was single, it was probably because he cared about what the answer might be. His rich brown eyes found yours. I'm unattached. This shouldn't be news to you, though. That was true enough ever since his first introduction to Cove and you. When he had arrived in Sunset Bird, Baxter had been open about the fact that he was absolutely extremely available.
So?
And how about you? There's no special someone in your life at this moment. I'm single as well. Oh, I see. Oh. Have you ever dated before? Sorry if it's embarrassing to talk about. So, like, who was your first crush? Thank you for telling me. You didn't need any more details than that. So who's your first crush? You knew this question was coming out of the blue, but you were curious, and since you were on the topic of romance anyway, not now, then when? He scratched his cheek thoughtfully, trying to recall a memory. Very interesting question. It'd be hard to put on an exact date and time to emotions. Say that was a little bit of a late boomer. I didn't develop a soft spot for anyone until I was around 12. Some people I knew had their first crush years before that. But there was another kid who would attend the same dance hall that I did. Though we practiced totally different disciplines, I was naturally there for a ballroom. They were a ballet dancer. But that's something of the past. In truth, when it comes to attraction, I find discretion on flames that are still like to be more worthwhile. That's the end of the story, as sparse as it was. Anyway, that's enough about me. Your turn.
What do
Beanie.
you think?
Has there been someone like that for you? Who did you first feel a connection with? It was someone I know from around here. Honestly, it was a celebrity. It was someone from school. You would know who I mean. Celebrity. Yes, it was hopeless. You get it. But you of the past couldn't help herself. Dash smiled wistfully and nodded. Don't blame me. The stars in the sky are trying to be seen in many cases. Thank you for telling me. You didn't need any more details on that.
You're welcome.
Don't mention it. You're most welcome, Phoebe. It was a fulfilling discussion, all told. I feel like we know each other a lot better now, wouldn't you say? Besides, said more than his words did, and both were saying an awful lot. Miss gazed steadily in spite of the heat in your stomach. From there, you and Baxter continued poking around until he browsed every shop on the path. He even doubled back around, leaning you all the way across again for a second glance. Despite the short length, it was easy to miss something even after a dozen passes through. Boop! Because the area was so packed. Thank you for the boop. But Baxter was satisfied with going through twice. He came to a halt at the end of the path, his attention leaving the shops and landing on you. Thank you once more for showing me this place, and for the gift. Filled the back with his souvenir safely hidden inside.
Bravo.
This really had been a fantastic stop on my California sightseeing extravaganza. Climbing aside gracefully, the shopping street was officially a hit. There's nothing. Glad it didn't disappoint you. I'm not sure if that's really exciting. You give him a thumbs up. He shrugged. I'm glad it didn't disappoint you. Nothing that's charming could ever disappoint me.
Now.
I suppose I need to hold up my side of the bargain. I tried to tell you something new, didn't I? Are you still interested in joining me in checking off and outing on my own goal list? I'm not ditching you now. Fantastic. In that case, we'll need to return to the neighborhood. Start off in the correct direction before clarifying what his plan was. Then you trail behind him. Hold on. They bring a buzz over all the places he could possibly take you. You mentally say goodbye to your old friend, the shopping street. Made it back to Baxter's rented condo and climbed into his also rented car. He brought up directions on his phone, though was careful not to let you catch a glimpse of the destination. He didn't even give you a hint. Then Baxter slipped his phone into the car handle slot for future reference and began to drive. They all have nice cars. Can we just state that? You relax in Baxter's passenger seat, attempting to puzzle out where he was actually taking you. He was in good mood, but any attempt at asking about the plan resulted in increasingly coy answers. After how many questions of yours he'd been answering, it was funny to have him suddenly act as if he'd never heard the concept of sharing information with another person. He didn't push it, and inevitably the veil of secrets would be removed. You only had to be patient. However, when he finally turned into a parking lot, you admit it was not what you had been expecting, even if you didn't know what to expect. It was still something you would not have guessed in a million years. On the top of the spacious building was a human-sized white pit. The place he wanted to sightsee was a bowling alley. Baxter led you to the entryway on air-light feet. Even from there, you could hear the clattering of normal-sized pins getting knocked down, setting into the disco tunes playing in the background. The front desk advertised rates for paying per game versus per hour. Along the wall, tower shelves held dozens of shoes, all sorts of sizes, and past that were the shining alleys.
All right.
Here we are. He was content, as if bowling was all his soul needed to find peace. You know, I have been to a bowling alley before. I'm sorry, this isn't new. I've been bowling before. As you know, I've never gone bowling. A bowling alley isn't what most people think of as sightseeing. You're at a loss. Bowling alley isn't what most people think of sightseeing. It's normal Monday night stuff.
Oh?
Sightseeing is all about the sights you want to see. Glance at the sparkling forest, walls, balls, and even couches. It was certainly a sight. Personally, I've never been bowling in my life. I want to try it for longer than I can remember, and well, what better opportunity than when I'm on vacation? Would it be much stranger to try it while I live my regular life? Like that must remind you, you never had bowling in it before. Be entirely unexplainable. Here in tourists, doing new things is part of my job description. I mean, I won't argue with that logic. It's okay to have fun at home too. Maybe I should pretend to be a tourist too. They can do whatever they want. No one likes a tourist who acts as if their life doesn't matter on vacations. You know, acceptingly. I mean, I won't argue with that logic. It was entertaining an argument. And there was nothing wrong with him wanting to have his fun now. And yet, Baxter, seeing the person how he was living, think about it, ask yourself, had you really done everything you wanted to? Reminded of the fact that your time on Sunset Bird had its own limits, and could very well be reaching the end of that line soon. This would be the last summer you had before becoming an adult, before taking your first step into everything that lay beyond. Sometimes, laying awake in bed at night, you would feel the tension like a bubble in your chest, the worry, the excitement, the anticipation of what the future may hold. Before that, how could you make the most of what remained? You weren't sure how to answer those questions, but on the current occasion at least, you didn't have the chance to ponder them further. Baxter chimed in again, your train of thought evaporated.
So?
Since we're on the subject, Beanie, have you ever done this before? Bowling, I mean. No, never. No. I guess I've done it once or twice. I bowled before. Sure, I've done me some bowling. No. Oh, it's good to hear. I didn't fail my goal to take you somewhere you've never been before. Never seen before.
Hallelujah.
I thought as a worst case scenario that you would have bowled. Not only at this particular relation, this is even better. Now then, shall we get a line? Seem to be popular today. Perhaps it's considered a slow day, and no basis of comparison. But we might be waiting for a lane. That's alright. Two of you joined the queue at the counter. Though the bowling alleys were indeed full, you got your booking and were handed rental shoes for when an opening came. Baxter flashed you a charming spell and insisted on paying.
Of course.
So you're so generous as to get me a keepsake? Fine. Fine, I paid at my spot. I guess you can at yours. Exactly. You laced up your shoes for a sec, and that was it in terms of finishing preparations. Hiccups hurt. There's time aplenty to kill before your round would begin. Well, since you're here, hey, where are you from? How's learning? What's your family like? What are you studying in college? 1, 2, or 3? Also, no lie, after this memory is done, I'm gonna tap out. Because my nose is getting so stuffy. It's getting hard to talk. I'm studying for a business administration and management degree. The expectations that I will manage and or administrate at some company in the future. I have no clue. He tilted his head aware of the silly way he put it. Nothing too specific, I'm afraid. All I know is that my nose is getting stuffy. And it's getting hard to, like, keep it clear right now. That sounds cool, though. Wow, I never would have guessed. Study's going well. Management, huh? Do you enjoy it, then? Study's going well? I'd say so, yes. Of course, I've only completed a few semesters worth, so it's early days yet. Counting my eggs before they hatch will be a bad habit for an aspiring administrator to develop. It might not surprise you to know that I can be a self-particular. I know the importance of coherence, with individual acting in a well-coordinated fashion. And I like things to function well for systems to operate smoothly.
Honestly.
I confess, you would call me controlling at times, not with people, but with processes. Especially when it comes to enacting plans. Much rather act under my own steam than follow someone else's lead. I'm only flexible with the personal, not the business aspect of life. But his palms matter-of-factly. That's enough about my aspirations. You know the story, so what about you, Beanie? I'm curious to know what the world has in store for you further down the line. I just graduated high school.
Really?
I really, my congratulations. It's an achievement to be proud of. It's not too much to ask. Where do you see yourself next? College, straight career, perhaps? You told about your future plans. I'd rather not talk about that. Told about your future plans. At your reply, Baxter moved in slightly. His eyes sparkling. Since you'd responded positively, he had no qualms about letting his curiosity show. A little bit like you. I'm glad to study by taking classes online. But I also wanted to pick up part-time work, so my parents aren't covering everything. Baxter gently waited for you to finish, and then nodded encouragingly. I think it's wonderful that you had something you're aspiring to already. Wish you the best of luck. It's an exciting thing taking the first step on your journey.
You know.
You truly never know just where you'll end up. Take me, for instance. I had never lived outside my hometown until I left for college, and look at me now. All of a sudden, I'm in California, of all places, cavorting about with a charming new friend. His brown eyes met yours briefly. Isn't that delightful? Life is nothing if not full of unexpected developments. I like to think we're doing what we can to make the most of that. I didn't have to be here, and you could have pretended no one new had appeared in your small town and gone in as usual. That's kind of you say. Sometimes I wish I had your confidence. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. You sighed over thoughts of the future. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next.
Glad to hear it.
Glad to hear it. I feel the same about finding out where things go from here and now. Besides, we've only been talking about work and school and such. There's much more life than that. The world would be altogether too dull otherwise. I may not remember me mentioning when we first met, but my most fulfilling hobby is ballroom dancing. True passion of mine. Seem to remember him saying something along those lines. It's important to have genuine hobbies, don't you think? He was right. You had your volunteer work, for example. He was right. You had pastimes you loved too. You danced around. He's right. You had your volunteer work. I get rid of that. I actually have a kind of fulfilling hobby too.
Oh?
Oh, really? Yeah, I volunteer with this local organization that helps look after the beaches. Keep the public informed about conservation efforts in the area. Baxter's eyes went wide as he spoke, and a look of genuine surprise. So something about this fact was a personal revelation of some sort. You really mean it? You're a volunteer? It was honestly completely unexpected, the way he hung on your every word. You know, information. He fixed you with a blank stare, while somehow, against all odds, you managed to render Baxter Ward totally speechless. Then, like the coming of dawn over the ocean, a dazzling smile broke across his face. Hold on. He rocked back slightly in his chair in what you could only describe as a miniature swoon. That's truly
To
marvelous.
be honest,
I must confess, the view I have of the world can be jaded at times. Volunteering to my eyes was one of the most wonderful things that nobody did unless they were compelled to somehow, either by the will of a parent or guardian, a school application board, or judicial process. It's so unusual to meet someone doing it because they personally wanted to. Yet here you are, and you said you find it rewarding? You nodded again.
you're
Incredible.
incredible.
Just incredible. He slipped his hands into the pockets of his jeans, looking off to the side. He laughed quietly to himself. I'm in more trouble than I already thought. I'm in more trouble than I already thought. Can we just state he is blushing? Like,
You're incredible.
and then he goes into blushing. I do want to know what he means. I'm in more trouble than I already thought. Thank you for the compliment. You could always join as well if you wanted. I'm a vital asset to society. I know. I can speak. It was honestly kind of cute how invested he was. Kind of cute. Just felt a little tighter at the thought. How many people did he show this side of himself to? It made you feel special somehow. He chuckled once more and shook his head, and then the conversation moved on. The conversation successfully filled the waiting period, and an attendant suddenly called you over. Elaine, rest free. Excellent, thank you. Charlie headed over to the rack of house balls, where Baxter began to size them up. So they come in different weights. Interesting. He tapped her forefinger to his chin, puttering the choice carefully. You picked a heavier ball. No sweat. Medium ball. Moderation was key. A lighter ball. Better safe than sorry. Medium. Not too heavy, not too light. You picked up one of the midweight balls. That was just right. Whoops. It was dark ebony black. Seeing your choice, Baxter nodded.
Very well.
That's a solid option. The best of both worlds, right? Is it a hold? You have a significant weight to give it some momentum. I think I'll follow your lead. Baxter picked an identical ball, flashing a wire smile. It's even the right color. Now, care to take the first shot? Sure, I can go first. How about you start? I'd rather not go first, so that's okay. If that's what you want, I'll do it. You nod. You shook your head. Sure, I can go first. Marvelous. Looking forward to this. Best of luck, Beanie. Mr. Monochrome took a seat on the striking red couch to watch. Him and the couch together almost looked like some kind of modern art display. But you weren't at a gallery. You were at a bowling alley, and he was waiting for you. You eyed the pin at the far end of the lane, gauging the distance. Breath in and breath out, you lifted your ball back in, what you hoped was a good posture. Then you took a few steps forward, let your arms swing down and release. Strike, nice. You knocked down a fair number of pins. Well, at least you hit something. Oof. Shot straight into the gutter. Should we do a strike? I like how it lets us pick. Well, no one's saying no. My nose is itching now. Strike. Pin slowed in all directions, satisfying putter. It was a stunning success. Maybe you had a knack for this game. Baxter applauded enthusiastically, his brows raised in admiration.
You're
Very well
incredible.
done, an impressive first move. You had struck Baxter as well, though after the initial amazement, he pulled a comically pained expression, grimacing with all his teeth. Suppose I better prepare myself for a total victory on your part. Hadn't you considered going easy on me? He was kidding. You played along with this new game and huffed. I hadn't, but hey, maybe you get lucky. And it appeared your turn was already over. You took a seat on the box leather just as Baxter climbed limbered up for his first shot of the game.
Alright.
Alright, then let's see how this goes, shall we? Turned the ball over in his hands a few times, as though it were an alien object. He eventually figured out he was searching for the holes to put his fingers through. It was more than obvious that he'd never so much as touched a bowling ball before. After more fumbling, he managed to work out the grip. Wish me luck. Now on for hesitation, Baxter took a couple large strides and sent the ball rolling. It hurtled down the lane straight on at first. Oh dear. Watch as the ball curved massively to one side and reached the end of the lane barely. It clipped the very back corner pin, which fell over right as the ball dropped into the gutter. 1 point for Baxter. He turned to you and grimaced playfully. Can you tell this is new to me? It's okay. Thank you. Well, here's something you do a touch better than that. Baxter retrieved his ball and rolled his shoulders, taking form in front of the lane. His brow was furrowed in concentration. He wasn't as hasty as before. Took time to line up the next shot. 1 step, 2 steps, 3rd step, and release. Shot like a cannonball, barreling ahead, it still curved slightly at the last moment to knock one of the center right pins head on. 5 more points. Baxter nodded to himself, satisfied at the improvement.
Not
60%
bad.
success is plenty for a first attempt. It's all part of the learning process. I must say, I'm enjoying myself so far. Your turn, Beanie. As the game proceeded, you and Baxter settled into a rhythm. You exchanged friendly chatter between frames, with the odd quip or moment of celebration thrown in. It's a comfortable way to pass the afternoon. In an odd moment, you found yourself wondering more about Baxter again. 2 of you would be there for a while yet, and if you felt inclined, it wouldn't be too hard to strike up a more in-depth conversation. Chuckled yourself at the convenient pun. Where are you from? I was wondering. What's your family like? 1 or 2? Who wants to pick?
Well.
Draw? But of course, I know that is not entirely what you meant. I'm merely teasing. Well, I'm studying in Virginia. I'm actually from Purple Oregon Trail, born and bred. That's the state where my home is, if you can believe it. Oh, Oregon, that's not far away at all. Virginia, though, not so much. You grew up pretty close by then. How do you like it back in Virginia? Are living away from where you grew up? Do you miss it? What's your hometown like? I don't know if I got around to asking where in Oregon you're from specifically. Alright, I suppose I had to name the place. It's a little town called Golden Grove. Like who wouldn't have heard of it? Sure enough, you couldn't say you knew anything about the place. The name kind of rang a bell, though. With a name like that, it sounds like you might have had a lot of forest over there. Baxter smiled with all his teeth.
Of course.
Of course, that's only one thing that springs to mind, isn't there? It's built on the slope of a mountain and surrounded on all sides by woodland. In the fall, the whole area sheds with a golden and orange patina of leaves. You almost forget any other colors exist. No wonder they call it something so literal. It does make the place sound grander than it is, though. In truth, it's a small town, but nice, not quite as tiny as Sunset Bird. You can easily stroll the length of this area and go to Grove. You'd at least want a bike or similar to make the trip, though some locals do take the walk. Quiet, sleepy corner of Oregon where hardly anyone comes or goes. You either move to the area to settle down, or you live there all your life to begin with. My suspicions fell into the former category, myself the later. You've left now, though.
Hmm.
I have indeed. I guess I bucked the trend in more ways than one. That certainly made sense. Ever since you first met Baxter, he seemed like the kind of guy to always be making waves of some kind or matter. Something about the way he said that makes you think he meant something else by it, though. So, if no one knows, Golden Grove we have visited before in the playthrough of Now and Forever demo. Next year we'll be playing it though. Possibly. They said that it would be coming out next year. I am hoping for it. The last update I got is that they were working on part 2 now. Or step 2. And they were developing the last bit of artwork it was. And programming for step 1. We even got to see a little baby Baxter there. Yeah. Hi, Peaches. Hi, baby. Something about the way he said that made you think he meant something else by it, though. With a sense sound like that, yeah, I'd have turned a few heads. With a personality like yours, Samantha stood out. Did you feel out of place there? You didn't comment on it. Did you feel out of place there? Baxter shrugged casually. I think I did sometimes, but that's not quite what I meant. He hummed thoughtfully and tapped his chin with a forefinger, trying to find precisely the right words. After a moment's pause, he continued. You have to understand that this is a small rural town. A fair number of residents are working class. There's some more affluent areas,
To be
but
honest.
I suppose you could say that my family has a reputation in those parts as the local people of means. Perhaps to put it in more vulgar terms, you're rich. He snapped his fingers. Precisely, and for better or worse, everyone knows it. If you were to go there and pass my name around, anyone would know who you were talking about. Give me a meaningful look as he said this. Please don't actually do that. It might embarrass even me. He had the same suspicion that it wasn't really his own flustery he was concerned about. He would handle great indifference as if to lazily sweat his own words out of the air. Feared that this was all he felt like saying on the subject. If I'm ever in town, I promise I won't throw your acclaimed name around.
Very well.
Thank you. You don't need to go out of your way on my account. Though if you are ever in the area. Smile took on a boyish amusement. I'm not planning on being in Golden Grove anytime soon, but all the same, I get the feeling it might not be long before I meet you there. One way or another, who can say? That his voice trailed off, and his gaze drifted to the middle distance in contemplation. Can we just state, reading this now, but the same, I get the feeling it might not be long before I meet you there, one way or another. Who can say? I like how they, before they even, were making the game, they were throwing in hints that, hey, there's another game coming that we'll see him there, You're up pretty close by then. Do you like it back in Virginia? Is it hard living away from where you grew up? Do you miss it? You're up pretty close by then. You're practically neighbors.
Oh?
That's true, isn't it? One may not be quite as close a neighbor as a certain someone we can mention. When it comes to states, I grew up right next door. Look for me then. The thought of this seemed to please him greatly. You got the impression that Baxter had a soft spot for these kinds of coincidences. You found this fact about him rather charming. Speaking of which, it's actually a little funny. The land my family home was built on, I suppose you'd call it somewhat remote. It's a four-sized state, situated a little ways off from the rest of the town. So until I moved into college dorms, I'd go as far as say that I never had neighbors before. His demeanor became more thoughtful at this. As for you, the admission came as something of a surprise. The time you known Baxter, which was adamantly not very long, was the closest time he'd come to being Melcani. And even then, it was the faintest glimpses. You blinked and it was gone. A slate wiped clean. My thought caught his fancy ease. Soon the characteristic grin was back on his face.
Not
In any case,
bad.
now we were neighbors in the truest sense of the word. At least until my time with Sunset Bird reaches its end. Nice thought, in spite of the certain knowledge that it would all soon be over. Maybe you shared a look which could be best described as neighborly. Oh my. I might need to take an allergy pill. Thanks for telling me you're content not to ask more.
My pleasure.
My pleasure. I'm flattered that you take an interest in my background. Normally I wouldn't talk so much about myself, although lately something has me spilling my feelings left or right. In any case, if you're to indulge me with your questions, suppose we are both winners in the end. Of course, right here and now, there can only be one winner. Your turn, Beanie. Well, felt like no time at all, you arrived at the final frame of the match. You glanced up at the scoreboard. You're ahead by a wide margin, and have been since this game started. Your rounds have pretty much all been strikes and spares. Baxter, meanwhile, contented himself with avoiding the gutter. Though he didn't manage that every turn. Still, the big gap in score didn't dampen his fun. Give me one moment. Finished the power frame with 3 consecutive strikes. Baxter whistled through his teeth. Some people in nearby lanes even applauded politely at the spectacle. Baxter took a far different approach to his last chance. He had nothing to lose after all. The game had long been lost already. So he attempted bowling with his back turned. The ball made it into the lane, rolling straight down and true end, and right down the drain it went. Baxter merely laughed. I finished as I began, in the gutter. Then Baxter came over and offered you his hand to shake, the very model of sporting behavior. You took it. He fought harder until the end. Moved away. It was all good. Shook it. Come on. Baxter grasped your hand firmly, and the two of you shook. He grinned.
Thanks.
Thank you for the game, Beanie. Had a lot of fun. I tried my best, but you got the better of me in the end. Congratulations. You did a great for your first try. Better luck next time. I am the champion. That's me. It was a good time. You simply smiled. Did great for your first try.
That's sweet.
You're too kind. It really seemed as though he was happy to have played at all. Never mind that he didn't win. The joy of a new experience was what mattered to Baxter in the end. The game reaching its conclusion, you wandered over to the main counter to return your rental shoes. Your sightseeing bowling venture was finished. As he left the building, Baxter was quiet. He must have had something on his mind. He lifted his face to the twilight sky. Did I say that right? Twilight sky? That met your eyes. We've had our fun, and the day's getting short in time. Suppose we could return to the neighborhood now. That was a question, not a statement. Baxter touched his chin in contemplation. He instructed you as altogether thrilled by the idea, and coincidentally said the exact same thing out loud.
To be honest.
To tell the truth, I'd be disappointed to go home. Would it be asking too much for this to last a little while longer? I'm not sure about you, but after the thrill of our bowling match, I've become rather hungry. I could treat you to dinner, or at least we could attend a meal together. Now that Baxter mentioned it, you realize your stomach was totally empty. You've been out and about for hours. Sure, I could eat something. The prospect of having more of a teen hang out lightened Baxter's already chipper mood. That's excellent. Furrowed his brow in thought, tapping a forefinger to his cheek. Statue drifted away from you as he cast his mind around for ideas. Something caught his fancy eventually. His eyes narrowed and the corners of his mouth curled over.
Perfect.
That could work. It's ideal, even. What is it? His gaze swept back to you, and he grinned wholeheartedly. So for today, we focus on locations which were new to one or both of us. It's all been good fun, but it may be nice to enter a little outing on a different note. Perhaps you see where I'm going with this. He tilted his head playfully, giving his smile even more of a bend. Baxter was nudging you in the right direction. For a meal, we could go somewhere that's familiar. I'm sure you can think of a suitable place. Somewhere you've both been before. Oh, wait, of course. There's a perfect venue for an evening meal, one he and you were both well familiar with. I mean the Caprice. The country club where you first met all those years ago. Exactly the kind of place Baxter would prefer. He'd be relieved that you caught on.
Bravo.
Exactly. That's agreeable with you as well. Take us there right now. Yeah, I like that. As a place to eat, Baxter led you to his car with a spring in his step. The prospect of a jaunt to the Caprice obviously delighted him. Oh, God. He sped towards the general direction of Sunset Bird in the midst of its namesake period of day. The faint whisper of clouds overhead were painted a pale orange. We put up to the country club. The sun was hanging behind the trees which lined the golf courses. You were led out to the recognizable dining area right away by a host, where a table for two was nestled in a quiet corner. He passed you many as he excused himself. A woman in a handsome waistcoat and jacket was beginning to light candles for the coming night. She paused to attend to the new guest. Good evening. I'll get you water immediately. Is there anything else I can bring? Good evening to you. One moment. But I'm familiar with offerings. Would you like to order now? Yes, please. Mentally gone over what you want on the drive, Baxter smiled sweetly at the waitress, ready to notepad take your orders. She asked her shortly and she took her leave. After that, there was nothing to do but make yourselves comfortable. Felt nice to have some time to relax. You reclined in your chair, stretching out your legs and idly peering around. You come at a good time. It was the middle of the week and earlier in the evening that many people would go out for dinner. As it was, you had the entire place to yourselves. Baxter shifted into his seat. The wicker creaking quietly. He rested an arm casually over the back of it.
The bag with his souvenir.
Whoops,
Self-voicing disabled.
The bag with his souvenir was sitting to the one side of the table in front of him. Yeah, I brought it from the car. He must be intending to open it here. It looked like he was a birthday boy, preparing to unwrap his present at a celebratory meal. My nose. Ew. Hold on. Soft side broke the comfortable silence. It's a pity it's so quiet. I would love for there to be some music. That's your lopsided road. Or dancing on. That's asking for much, I know. However, when I visit the Caprice, either here or home, it's livelier than this. Such a shame. But I suppose they can't have a soiree every night. This is where we danced together last time, right? I still find it hard to believe this is where we first met. All sympathetically. It was where we were able to dance together last time, right? Baxter dipped his head in agreement, his brown eyes sparkling the color of amber in the sunset.
Understandable.
That's true, that's true. It was really a night to remember. I was beyond pleased to see such a good partner in the crowd, and then finding each other again after all this time. Well, it's nothing short of a miracle. He ran his fingers through his hair and laughed softly, as if struck again by the absurdity of it all. It's times such as these where it feels as though you're close to something magical, wouldn't you say? The fingers of fate reaching through time to touch the strings of our lives. It could have so easily never happened. That's what I find strange. Few choices made differently, and we might never have even crossed paths at all. He shouted dramatically, as if the prospect chilled him despite the summer warmth. It doesn't bear thinking about. The serious note to his words was gone in an instant, placed once more with his usual playful timbre. He stroked a thoughtful profile, resting his chin in his hand, and then peeked at you slyly from the corner of his eye.
You know,
I first saw you standing there on the edge of the dance floor. It was captivating to see someone my age so put together. It could be easy performer to fade into the background at those kinds of events. Everyone looked the same, but you were able to make the style something of your own. You're usually the best dressed partner, though. I was delighted to take your attention as well, if only for one dance. You met Baxter Keys. Despite the flush in your cheeks, as always, Baxter was absolutely direct with his compliments, but it didn't throw you. Thanks, I'm glad you had a fun time. Baxter laughed at that. The sun rang clear as a bell over the deep patio. The grass and the water and the sun-dying lake caught them all. You missed this place. It had been too long since your last visit. Excuse me. Train of thought was I'm tried by the sound of the waitress arriving with your food. Two sitting plates were placed in front of you, and then you were again alone. Neither you nor Baxter wasted any time tucking in. The food was as good as you remembered, and by all accounts Baxter was content with his choice too. But you didn't necessarily have to eat in perfect silence. You searched for a topic of conversation. I was wondering what's your family like. He stayed quiet for a bit. Shall we? It's the last one. Baxter trained up properly. He'd guess you would ask about this sooner or later.
Honestly.
It's not the most exciting story I'll tell. My immediate family consists of my mother, father, and myself. For better or worse, I'm an only child. That tends not to surprise people. So I stuck on a slight littering quality, as if he was deciding something he'd practiced many times over. In many ways, my parents are the prototypical example of success. They're affluent, sophisticated, and have a wide-reaching, influential social circle. As families go, I had to say that we are a happy set. As sometimes happened with Baxter, you weren't convinced he was giving you the whole picture. Can't help but give him a curious look. What about more in general? His eyes narrowed knowingly, and his mouth pressed into a thin spark. See, you're not content. I love my parents, but that's not to say that there aren't complaints to be had. It's a mutual feeling. They understand care through the lens of control and protection. That's been their way ever since I was young. In that sense, they treat me no different from a child. But of course, they're quite educated, esteemed, and a tad old. As is their company most days, that's not the environment tact as a child. That meant I've always been expected to behave with the maturity of someone their own age, or perhaps even older somehow. That paradox, isn't it? Do everything as an adult would while getting the respect of an infant does. So I think of myself as much more of a free spirit at heart. I'm impressed and I like to enjoy life in whatever way I see fit.
Well.
Say I'm a bit of a rebel. Said almost figuratively, like he'd divulged some important personal secret. Oh my. I want to put you down as a troublemaker. I can see that you're the playest rebel I've ever met. Ooh, you're a bad boy. I wouldn't put you down as a troublemaker. He nodded. I can see that. Being this was a point of pride for him. Why, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Speaking of your parents, where are they now? You didn't mention them visiting Sunset Bird. They're at home, most likely. I don't know for sure. Huh, that was odd to you. Why did Baxter come here during his semester off instead of going back to his family home? I didn't want to stay with them or go back home to Oregon at all, in fact. More rebellious behavior on my part, you see. That was a strange mixture of proud and diffident. Like you knew how frivolous it sounded, but had decided to own it anyway.
Now.
Mother and father agreed to me vacationing on my own, but under the condition that they would have the choice of where I stayed. California being fairly close by and Sunset Bird being so quaint. Not to mention our prior excursions into the area, they concluded that this was the easiest way to keep me out of trouble. They had it all planned out, a safe summer holiday for their only child. Can't help but be surprised that he said a similar thing when you two first met, Ashley. His parents had sent him here to keep it from being exciting. Sure, Sunset Bird was still on Sleepy for the most part, but it was still Californian coast, and Prisma Vista City was right there. What part of that was unexciting, especially since he had his own rental car? What do you normally do this summer in SoCal is unexciting? So you posed the question to him. Baxter's casual demeanor underwent a change. Customary relaxed smile took on a wiggly, sharp edge, and his eyes flashed with a devilish mischief. The change was so surprising that he couldn't help but imagine what his prime and proper parents would think if they were here to see it. Stood closer conspiratorially and spoke in a hushed voice.
So?
Did you know that the legal age requirement is for renting a car in the state of California? 18? Why are you asking that? 21, 20? That's how old you are, right? You shrugged. Oh. 21, 20. That's how old you are. I don't know which one. Which one should we choose? Mm, 18? It's 21. Said it totally casually almost without reflection. I, however, am 19. Took a moment for his words to register. Wait, Baxter was 19 and the legal age for renting a car was Oh, you were rendered momentarily speechless all this time and you had no idea. Baxter carried on speaking, not noticing or politely ignoring the implosion your thought process was undergoing. Truth of the matter is that my parents, being uncreative people, had full confidence that I couldn't be able to rent a car. That's why Sunset Bird was chosen as my
It's
destination.
doable.
But I don't have the same issue. There are ways around the age limitation, as you might have gathered. Since I'm over 18 and I have control over my own bank accounts, I honestly don't know why they bothered trying at this point. Little situation, take what do a little. It had to be extra work to get a hold of the car, and all Baxter did with it was sightseeing. Even with law breaking, there is something so proper about him. So how did you manage it? You didn't even want to hear how. It wasn't all that difficult, honestly. I didn't have to do anything awful, don't worry. I have a large number of social connections. Myself, members of the dance circuit, acquaintances from the country club, fellow students from college, misclaimed family, friends. Let's go on. Point is, I'm fortunate enough to have a connection in the area who had an extra car, which was mine to use provided I covered the cost. Plus a little extra, of course. The throwaway nature of this last part gave me pause. The extra idea of the little would probably put Cliff Holden's $20 to shame. Okay, that's good to know, I guess. Splendid, glad that's squared away. He give you searching smile, all honey, and that, for now, was that. Passed the rest of the meal with idle chatter, exchanging anecdotes, and silly stories. Everything was easier with some good food at hand. Eventually, dinner ended. The dishes were cleared, and the bill was set for one of the things he had discussed was who to pay. You paid for yours, and he paid for his. It was the fairest that way. It would be split right in half, a team effort. Paid for his, and he paid for yours. It was a little more fun that way. Willing to cover it, and you accepted generosity. He was being nice. So I'm paying the whole bill. It was going to be your treat. Let's go with split it in the middle. Team effort. And now, reach over to place his hand on the wrapped up souvenir. It's sat patiently next to his plate for the whole meal.
Exciting.
I've been eagerly waiting the right opportunity to witness. No time like the present, wouldn't you agree? You will see what you think. And you will. He pulled the gift squarely in front of him with a great deal of ceremony, as though it was a beautifully wrapped present with an enormous bow on the top. It was generous of him to play pretend. There was certainly nothing fancy about a cheap plastic bag, but thank you for shopping printed all down the side. Give me one moment. My nose is itching so bad. He lifted his eyes and with tentative fingers reached inside and pulled out the souvenir you bought. He lifted his lids and finally sat for the first time, his brow raised in appreciation. Turned the necklace over in his hands, appraising it from multiple angles as the warm, dusky glow bathed it in gold. Then he ran the stones gently through his fingers, admiring the way they sparkled in the sunlight. In the light. It's beautiful and my favorite colors, too. He grinned at you. I'm sure to get a lot of use out of this, and I'll have a place of honor in my closet. It's a wonderful gift. I couldn't have chosen better myself. Having a drop of bright California sunshine to brighten up my college dorm is the very thing I needed.
So charming.
I'll be reminded of you every time I look at it. Thank you, Beanie. You're welcome. That's all I hope for. Gently place the necklace back in the bag. For safekeeping, I'd be distraught if anything happened to it. Once Phil came and went, Mac cleared his throat and made a stand. Shall we? Checked around for your belongings and nodded. Yeah, let's go. Wonderful. Headed through the club and out into the parking lot. Night was beginning to fall in earnest. Settled into the car, you found yourself gazing back at the trees. Andy thanked it for so many years of fine food and happy memories. It had been a good day, a lifetime of good days. Because Baxter had offered you even more to be grateful for. That meeting was a gift to you from your old friend. Also, the daylight was long gone by the time you finally returned to the neighborhood. Baxter had gone more slowly than when you left, content to enjoy the drive. Almost as if he was trying to delay the end of your sightseeing trip for a little while longer. Felt the same. It had been a special day in many ways. He sighed forlorn as the car pulled into your street at last. Baxter parked and killed the engine, then he shoved it in the driver's seat, his hand still on the wheel, to face you. I really appreciated your company today, Beanie. I had to confess, I hadn't entirely planned in the event that you declined my invitation. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want you to feel obligated to humor me, so I'm not lonely. I managed perfectly well. But in the end, I'm grateful it didn't come to that. It was infinitely preferable having the chance to spend a few hours in your company.
Thank you.
I don't know if you feel the same, or if you did indeed tag along as a favor to me. Either way, thank you. Baxter finished his brief speech and released the wheel. He made as if to get out of the car without waiting for a response. Let me do it. I want to spend more time with you. Glad you invited me. I appreciate the chance to get to know you. You patted his arm reassuringly. I want to spend more time with you. Then his eyes bright. Baxter was awfully pleased, making no attempts to hide the fact. He realized that he'd really been asking you a question in his own roundabout way, so hoping you enjoyed his being there too. It was nice that you could make him happy with such a simple thing. Baxter cleared his throat and shifted in place. He pretended to escape. His pretended escape plan had included taking off the seatbelt. He undid it then. He moved to do the same when the two of you got out of the car into the warm night air. The goodbye was on the tip of your tongue when Baxter's voice gave you pause. Beanie? Hello. He turned to where Baxter stood. Baxter was leaning casually against the hood, one hand in his pants pocket.
Forgive me.
Forgive me, it's been a long day, and I'm sure you're tired of questions at this point. If you indulge me a while longer, I did have something else in mind to ask. That didn't bother you. The smile showed that. If anything, you've been the one asking most of the questions. Go ahead. When Cooter Baxter's smile lifted in a crooked half smile, he stood up properly and he continued. Thanks. Well, as I must repeat, today I've been particularly lovely, all the lovelier for having spent it with you. I wonder, would it be too forward for me to consider our time together a date? A beat. You blinked. Wait, a date. Your voice came out a bit squeaky with surprise. Not for the first time today, Baxter managed to catch you completely off guard. It wasn't last time either, but whereas before Baxter might have delighted in getting such a reaction out of you, the expression he gave now was gentle, friendly. How funny, considering the entire more than friendness of the subject. Ran a hand absent-mindedly through his hair, searching for the most delicate way to put his bluntness. Have I read the signals wrong? It wasn't the underlying intention when I asked, I assure you. I got the impression of what this may be, or could be, partway through. And from that entirely off, I'd be far more curious to inquire on whether I may consider any future outings together as dates as well. He edged in closer.
To cut to the chase, I'm asking you out.
I'm sorry, his voice is just nice. To cut to the chase, I'm asking you out. That is if you'd like to spend more of your time with me, and assuming you'd even want to date a man. Honestly, I'd be open to dating you. I don't treat things that lightly. Why would you want to date me? I don't understand. We rarely know each other. I could date a guy. I guess you're comfortable with me? I don't know what to do. Um... Oh. I kind of want to see you. Yeah, honestly, I'd be open to dating you. Why not?
In that case...
Well, before I get too carried away in excitement, I must own the fact that this is not a grand romantic overture. That you would believe me if I was claiming to be your one and only for all time. But his palm touched just met your gaze with cricket smile. I'm knowing myself as a suitor for his season, trying summer adventure no more, no less. Self-playing basically, only you would describe it like that. You're part of this strange situation. You can only stare with your mouth hanging open. Only you would describe it like that. Baxter laughed, self-efficating, and shrugged. He was about to argue with you about that, but he did make one more attempt to get his idea across. I don't care about what label you choose to put. I could be your boyfriend or nothing at all. And you can also change your mind without consequence if you find it's not what you imagined further down the line. That's how you feel. I can live with it. That makes sense. Hey, I get it already. Consider yourself suited. I'm sorry, I can't do that after all. That makes sense. Afterwards, he beamed at you, his face bright in the darkness.
Lovely.
Thank you for giving me so much of my time here. I've been very fortunate to have you as my neighbor, and as for now, as something else. So as measured and polite as ever, but you couldn't help but hear excited edge to the words. As if he were internally bouncing on the balls of his feet with anticipation because he wouldn't do it on the outside. The smile of Baxter was your favorite. Seeing it, you were already glad to have accepted his offer. On top of your own personal feelings, it was key to have such an impact on him. Underneath his peculiarities, Baxter was a sweetheart. But once the initial rush had died down, your thoughts turned to more practical matters. What would you say to people? What would you call this thing between you? With a question to Baxter, whose eyes lifted up along the edges. Do you care if I tell my family or not? My friends are gonna find out. Sure enough. What a lighted first concern. It's up to you how we go about it. If it's not something you feel comfortable talking about, then I wouldn't insist. My preference would not be to treat it as a secret, however. I'm proud to be doing this, but again, I'm a visitor. This is your home. The choice is ultimately yours. If you're okay with that, I don't mind telling people. I don't mind if you're honest about it. We can tell people. Let's go. But then I tell my mom's sister. I'll be teased. They shocked if they knew they know. If you're okay with that, don't mind telling people. Excellent. I'll speak casually about it then. Parents are likely to hear the news eventually, but I don't expect you to speak to them. Oh, alright. Now, as much as it pains me to say, I shouldn't keep you any longer.
I'm here
Thank
if
you
you
for a
need
wonderful
me.
day. If you ever want another, you can call or text. I'm very able to drop what I'm doing and come see you. Alternatively, you're welcome to come by my place whenever it strikes you. I'll be in touch too, though, so don't feel pressured to initiate. He lifted his hand cheery way, staying put in order to see you ahead.
Good night.
Have a good night. At this, the closing moment of your day together, it struck you how much of an impact he had on you in such a short time. Cast your mind back further to 5 years ago, it was still so surreal to think about. The mysterious boy who had vanished without a trace once the night was over. Not only had he shown up after all this time, but he'd moved into the neighborhood, and now you were dating. The absurdity made your head spin. Your chest ached with a profound emotion that you didn't have a name for. Like you were seeing the beauty and complexity of the universe laid bare. But you can mull over those thoughts another time. It was getting late, and he was waiting for you. For a moment, with Baxter, you waved a fond farewell, gave him a hug goodnight, left him with a parting kiss. Should we do a kiss? Should we? Should we? Should we? I'm not being told no. That's the thing. I'm not being told no by chat. So, kiss. After initially frozen by your initiative, you outpaced him even then. You outpaced even him, but not for long. He quickly leaned in to return the kiss. One hand rested on your shoulder, the other coming up to gently cup your jaw. His lips were soft against yours. The kiss was chaste, tender. Your eyes were shut, but you could feel his mouth curl upwards with contentment. From the beginning, there was his face as dazzling as the stars. Being with him that way was warm and comforting, despite the fact that his shirt felt really stiff. Fashion over comfort with Baxter Ward.
You're very good.
Anticipate you'd be the one to pull a move on me so soon. And daring move at that, but it is far from unwelcome. He laughed quietly behind his hand. There was no chance of you making Baxter shy. There was a definite coyness in his temperament, and a faint flush to his cheeks. Well then, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, have a good night, Fanny. Good night, Baxter. They let each other go, at least for the moment. Baxter had begun the farewell, yet made no move to leave. He watched you across the road to your house, turned the threshold and moved one last time. A familiar grin was the last thing you saw before the door closed behind you. You'd see you again soon enough. It was a strange feeling to be back home after such an eventful afternoon. So much happened in the space in a few short hours. So much had changed. Of course, you were right. that couldn't be described as without excitement. They're greeted almost immediately by footsteps approaching from the hallway. Sweetie, you're back. I heard the door open. Mom's laugh rang up from behind her, out of the pan, into the fire.
No,
Well,
no,
then, no need
no.
to jump on Beanie without giving her the chance to take her shoes off. For all we know, it's been a very informative and tiring day. Ma came up in front of you, and Mom appeared over her shoulder. You could see the smirk on Mom's face to go along with the pointed implications in her choice of words. For all that, Mom appeared to be tempering Mom's enthusiasm. They were both guilty of speculating what you were up to all day, and now was their chance to finally find out. While the wife rested a hand on her shoulder, Mom beamed angelically. The picture of innocence, she was the last person to bowl someone over the minute they got home. Honest.
Huh?
What's going on exactly? Your sister's voice drifted from the couch. Miss was sitting watching TV, but spun around to see what the commotion was about. Her show forgotten. Thinking was all there, and in only a matter of seconds. So, how did it go? Did you have a nice time with our new neighbor? Oh, so that's where you've been all afternoon, out with the gin in the collar. How charming. Sister leaned over the back of the couch with a biting grin on her face. She could have been given Baxter a run for his money. Yes, Beanie was keen to know Mr. Ward. The rest of us would like to know him as well. Ah, you're such a snoop, he laughed. Come down, Ma, get to it. Beanie Baxter asked me out on a date. I had a lot of fun. You want the scoop, Baxter? I got the deets. He suddenly sighed and shook her head. Ma, you're such a snoop, he laughed. Patted Ma's shoulder. Lonnie, Beanie is right. Any snoopier, and you'd be a Peanuts character. Liz groaned loudly, fell over on the cushions. Ma rolled her eyes, but took the hint and backed off from it. Ma was making strange whispers to you as she went past. But don't forget, with your poor Ma, that your poor Ma might explode if you decide to play the long game. We don't want that either, right? Ma gleefully squeezed the hand still on her. All was forgiven. With that, the immediate attention around her dispersed, and you were free to collect your thoughts. Slowly, everyone drifted towards the kitchen counter where they sat ready and waited to hear the whole story. Kicked off shoes, Ma wouldn't allow you to drag dirt in the house, even when she was trying to curry favor. And he went over and pulled up a stool. There was one major event of the outing. You and Bex were dating. It could be the last bit of first info they ever would have expected about the new neighborhood. Here's a Baxter went date me. Well, I went that way. I want that too. Here's a factoid about Baxter Ward. He is dating someone named Beanie Last. So the main thing is that Baxter and I are dating now. To cut a long story short, Baxter's my boyfriend now. Let's do this one. Here's a factoid about Baxter Ward. He's dating someone named Beanie Last. There was a dead silence for a moment. Your family merely stared at you. Then they opened their mouths and you said, "What?" Everyone started talking at once, demanding to know the specifics. You did your best to elaborate, in spite of their unintended interruptions. Basically asked me at the end of the day if this was considered a date, and if so, whether or not I want to have more dates with them. Said yes to both of those, so yeah, that's it. In a nutshell. This was still entirely taken back in spite of your reasoning.
What?
He asked you out already, or retroactively, sideways asked you out. Doesn't matter, you've been here about one day. That's not true, it's been multiple days. And you've accumulatively spent one day worth of hours with him over multiple days. Cross me, Mom snarled with a sudden laughter.
I see.
Well, at least we know one thing for sure about our new neighbor. Doesn't waste any time. She judged him accurately. That's exactly how you describe Baxter. Hurricane couldn't have swept you off your feet half so fast as that. Baxter and Ma continued to blink and sense silence. Of your parents, Mom was usually the one to encourage you to be social and make new connections with people. She basically shoved you out the door to go find out more about the new guy. The idea that you might get this involved with Baxter hadn't even crossed her mind. Perhaps sensing Ma's hesitance, Liz chimed back up. Teasing aside, congrats, little sister. It's not all on him. You know how to charm a guy, and he's lucky to have you. Well said, Liz. Baxter knows quality when he sees it. Now, hopefully his properness isn't actually just an act. Take care and be safe, kiddo. I hope you have a fun summer.
Well...
And that, we can always make sure he never says fun in the state ever again. This finally was what jolted your mom out of her state of shock. She wrapped her wife playfully on the arm and rebuked. Pam, what do we agree about that kind of shovel talk? We shouldn't resort to threats, especially not about someone Beanie cares for. Mama was calling me. Hold on. She resort to threats, especially about someone Beanie cares for. She smiled sweetly, recovering her buoyant energy somewhat. And don't have to regardless. If Baxter did anything wrong in this new relationship you have together, guilt would eat him alive, I'm sure. Ma gave another hearty laugh and put an arm around Mom. They were 2 peas in a pod, the pair of them. Ma faced you fully, apparently more at ease now that the ice had been broken.
Isn't that
I
great?
agree, Sort. Baxter was very fortunate to have the chance to get to know you. Make the most of it, alright? Being able to see you happy is good enough for us. Thanks, everyone. I'm already happy. Okay, at least now you guys know. He's bad for you showing our son. Covered your face embarrassment, so mushy. Thanks, everyone.
Of course.
Don't mention it, honey. Thank you for telling us. In spite of the nipple ribbing, it felt good to have opened up about that. In their own ways, they all wanted you to know they were on your side no matter what choice you made. As they were on, your moms and Liz ended up chatting amongst themselves, engrossed in the conversation to the point where you were able to slip away unnoticed. On the way upstairs to your room, you found yourself glancing back at the front door, as if to catch another glimpse of Baxter over the street. Really hope he got what he wanted out of the sights he saw, since the bird was a special place to you. If you're lucky, then maybe Baxter had come to realize that as well. You certainly reached more of an understanding of him, one way or another. Yet you were positive there was much still buried underneath the surface, so much more to his character than there had been appeared to be at first glance. But you didn't mind. You'd known each other for such a small part of your lives. Of course, a single outing wouldn't be enough to qualify an entire person. What was special was that it might not always be that way. Currently, he was the bowling alley, shining anew, but someday you might be as familiar with Baxter as you were with the shopping street and the Caprice. This day was only a wonderful start. Ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba. It's awesome, right? What is that covering the corner of my game? Don't know what it was, but okay. And now we are ending stream, and my nose is so itchy. I was gonna raid Rav, but she is currently going to be how's about we're gonna raid Umpy. Excuse me. Copy. Paste. It won't paste it. There we go. Okay. Hope everyone had fun. I shall see you all next time. I will also be making a plan to play The Long Dark again. Just see how long we can continue with that. Boys, if you wanna come hang out, I'm gonna be in VC for a bit. But on that note, I shall see you all tomorrow for some drinking stream with Teresa. Bye.